I've had a really crazy life. I was brought up in South Africa, landed up being an international dating coach. I went from being a drug addict to being a highly successful self-development coach and world expert. I've traveled the world for the last 7 years in a row, almost 8 years. And in this video, I'm going to share with you my journey from growing up in South Africa to traveling the world, all the shit I got up to, crazy stories from my travel. What's going on, guys? So a few people have requested to hear my life story, so I'm going to share my life story with you, and we're going to watch the sunrise together at the same time, because that is a very fitting description of my life story, from the darkness into the light. So if you guys have any requests in the future, just comment down below and I will do those videos for you. I appreciate all you subscribers and the people that watch my content. So lessons that I learned, and hopefully inspiration, that you can get some gems to help you improve your life and live a fantastic life. So I just want to first say that I'm grateful to God for giving me this life, for giving me my conscience that led me in the right path and eventually finding Him. And for anyone that's in a dark time now, understand that dark times don't last. But you follow your conscience to get out of it. But anyway, let's begin. So I was born on the 5th of December 1991 to a family with 4 brothers and sisters. My childhood was pretty nice. The first memory that I have was throwing a brick at another child's head. He was chasing my brother up a jungle gym. And I remember I picked up like half a brick. I wasn't even thinking, it was just an instinct. And I picked up half a brick and I threw it, and it hit this kid in the head, shame. And then I started getting in trouble. And for some reason as a child, I was a very disturbed child, and I did that, I hurt that child. And then in grade 1, when I was 6, I declared a war on all the people in my grade, and I remember throwing stones at them and trying to stab them with pencils and shit. I was a menace, and I was an outcast, and I didn't do my homework. I was very naughty. I didn't even do my homework even until I was in matric, until the final year. I was a menace. And then when I was 12 years old, I was actually molested by a girl, by a woman, and she slept with me, And a lot of people in the society, they say, oh yeah, I wish that happened to me when I was a kid and all that shit. And let me tell you something, that it was very bad for me, and it was one of the things that contributed to my later drug addictions. And so that happened. And again, in this video, I'm going to be very vulnerable with you guys and very open. I do these videos to try and give people strength and give them encouragement and support. So I put it on the line with these videos, and a lot of people judge me for them. I get hatred, but if you're one of them, then that's what I have for you, because I'm just trying to help people. But anyway, so that chick did that to me. Then when I was 12, I was terrified of girls. I was terrified of them. And I remember once, these girls wanted to talk to me, and I was attracted to them, but I was scared of them. And they wanted to talk to me at a house party, and I remember running away and hiding underneath a car from them. Maybe a little bit after that woman did that to me. And I hope my family don't see this, but whatever, even if they do, it's fine. They still love me. It's not my fault that happened anyway. Then I hid away from these girls, bro. I ran under the car and I was hiding away from them. And I remember that. And then when I was 13, 14, I got drunk for the first time, and I drank like an alcoholic. The first time I drank so much that I got pissed and I vomited everywhere. And then I developed a compulsive addiction to masturbation as well at that age. And I was so ashamed of myself because of what had happened to me at age 12. I was extremely ashamed, and I was confused. I didn't know what it was. And then anyway, I developed this addiction to masturbation. And I remember once lying in the bath and thinking to myself, you know what, I'm going to like cut my own dick off if I carry on doing this. I remember literally thinking that when I was a child. Shame. And then when I was like 16, I started smoking weed. And I remember the first time I smoked it, I thought this was the solution to my life. This was it, baby. This was comfort. This was what I've been looking for the whole time. And probably because my mind was so infected with shame and guilt and all that stuff from that experience with that girl, and then the later addiction to masturbation. And I remember, like, if you guys remember in the old days, they would get like pornography, but it was like pictures, like actual printed pictures. And I remember there was this one kid that would like bring it to school and he would like sell them. He was like a dealer of that shit. Funny guy. His name was Alon. I could just picture us now doing that. And then, guys, what happened? Then, fuck, bro. At age 16, I started going to rave clubs. Check the sunrise starting. It's beautiful. Let's take a look at it. I started going to rave clubs at age 16. There was a club in Johannesburg called Truth. And this place was a place that used to get all the young kids on drugs. It still probably does. I think it's still open. It's fucking shithole. And we started taking ecstasy. We started using all this crap. And I remember going there like 8 weeks in a row and thinking that this was like heaven, you know. And I would take all these drugs and shit, and wake up the next day, or like go home the next day at like fucking 5 in the morning, and I could feel like something was wrong, you know. And in hindsight, I was on the downward spiral of destruction. Those things were destructing me, and my conscience was trying to communicate to me. I was saying, bro, don't do this. But I was so young, and I was so ignorant, and I was also confused because all the people around me were doing it too, that I thought it was like kind of normal. And anyway, I went on with this, and I remember then I started developing depression, and then the addiction really got me, and I started smoking the weed all the time, every day. And one time I was at school, and the teachers knew that I was like a problem kid, and they used to really like pick on me. Actually, these teachers that are supposed to educate young people, they were picking on me all the time. Oh, and I didn't tell you, but my parents got divorced when I was like 12. And that was very sad for me as well. And then these teachers used to always pick on me. And one time, bro, I brought weed to school, and I had like a lunch bag thing that I used to bring my food in, because I was already like a bodybuilder back then. When I was a teenager, I was really jacked, actually. And I brought the weed to school, right? But I had left my cooler box in the bathroom, and it had the weed in it. And when I must have told someone I had it, because when I left the bathroom, some idiot snitched on me. Yeah, they snitched on me. They knew I had it because I probably thought they were my friend, and I told them. And they snitched on me, and then he searched my bags. He fully searched me, and I was like, "What are you looking for?" I was like playing it off, and I was terrified. But then I found out the weed was still in the cooler box, right, in the bathroom. So that was lucky. I left it there and didn't catch him. Mr. Johnson, that was his name, Mr. Johnson, this guy. Another crazy story. I'll tell you this other story another time. It's not even appropriate for this video, but he once interrogated me. This guy was like from the British Army or something like in the past. And I remember I did something very naughty, and he knew like I did it. And he literally did like a full-on interrogation, and like kept me there for hours. And I eventually confessed, and I watched these these interrogation channels, right? Like later years, and I realized he was using those same techniques on me. This guy was hectic. But anyway, then I had this one best friend, and I started using the drugs with him and all that. And we used to steal this guy's mom's car. I'm very ashamed of this, but it did happen, so I'll tell you. We used to steal his mom's car and go and like throw eggs at people, and like I didn't used to shoot the people with a pellet gun, but he used to do that. And we used to steal and we used to do bad things, right? And I think we did because we were on a bad path and we were hurting people because we were hurt. But I'm not excusing that. And I'm still trying to repent and ask for forgiveness for that, what I did wrong. And anyway, we used to steal this guy's mom's car and do all kinds of bad things. And one time we went to the supplement store, right, because we were all bodybuilding. And he was telling us, he's like, yeah, bro, I've got this great way we can steal. And I was like, oh, how? He's like, you take don't try this at home. You take the protein shake bottle, and then you open it, you put stuff inside it, and then you leave the store with the stuff, and you pay for the protein, so it's a foolproof plan, right? So I'm like, okay, bro, I'll pay you to, like, do this for me. So he's like, three of us are in the store, putting all this shit in the protein shake bottle, and then closing it up. We go to the exit, and then he's like, makes me push it through. And I'm like, bro, I paid you to do this for me. But anyway, I was like, whatever. And I paid for it. And then when we were walking out, the security just ran at us and they grabbed us, they arrested us. We went to the prison cell, whatever, the holding cell. And then he already had a lawyer at that age. And we were only 16. This guy was fucking naughty. And basically, we got out of it by pay. That's like basically how it works in South Africa. You can pay your way out of things. And we paid. And then another time, I was with my older brother and we had bought weed. Now weed is legal in South Africa, but at that time it wasn't. And we bought weed and we were coming back from the weed place. And these police in an unmarked car came next to us and they flashed their badges and stuff. And then we didn't stop and we were like, eventually we stopped. And then we gave them attitude. We're like, oh, who do you think you are searching us? Did you want the weed and all that? They arrested us and we slept in the cell that night. And the next morning we went to the holding cell in the center of Johannesburg in the CBD. Like, that place is dangerous. You can't even walk around there. And we were the only white people in the whole cell. And there was another guy that got arrested that night that I actually knew. And he was arrested for drunken driving. And when they took this guy in the cell, in the big cell with like 100 people, and we were the only white people, they approached us, and I thought to myself, bro, I'll fuck these guys up because they were small, and I thought I'll just smash their head on the wall or something like that. But maybe they would have stabbed us, I don't know, but I wasn't scared of them. But this guy was shitting his pants, man, and this guy came up to us, like, yo, what are you in for? This small little guy. And then this guy, my friend, this fucking other South African guy, white guy, he's like, oh, bro, take my chain, bro, take my chain. Scared. Anyway, we didn't give them anything, me and my brother, and then we went out, and my mom, shame, bless her, and I'm also trying to make amends to her. She was there crying, bro. The judge like saw her crying, and my mom like spoke to him, and my mom has a good word with people, and he let us go. He didn't even do anything to us. And that was that. Then after that, I was never a good student at school. And like this video if you're watching until now, guys, and comment it, please. It'll help the algorithm. But anyway, then it's not easy to share this kind of stuff with you guys, like personal things like this. So please give it a like, give it a comment, share it if you want. You know, it's also about drug addiction recovery, this video, and inspiration. So I'm just trying to give you a really good life story. I hope you're enjoying it. Anyway, then, okay. Now, this is why I became a pickup artist coach. So then I finished school and I went to this party called Matric Rage. And it's in a city not Matric Rage. I went to Cape Town in December. That's the best time to go there. If any of you want to go there, highly recommend. Went to this festival. We took all these drugs and shit. And I was shredded to the bone. I was like in elite shape. I'd already been training for like 6 years consistently. And I was jacked, bro. And I was still scared of girls at that age. At age 17, I was still scared of them. And I couldn't approach them. And I was with all my friends. And they all, like, one of them had a chick. The other one found a chick. The other one found a chick. And eventually I'm sitting there and I'm starting to get really insecure because I would see these girls. I was attracted to them, but I was too scared to approach them. And they all having chicks, and I remember like there was one friend left that didn't have a girl. So I didn't have a girl and he didn't have a girl. So I was like, okay, cool. At least he also doesn't have a girl, so I'm like safe. The next thing he comes back with this hot chick, right? And I'm sitting there with all these guys, and I'm the most jacked one out of all of them, and they all have girls and I don't. It was so humiliating. And then it got even worse, right? And what was worse about it too was that I was in great shape and the girls were actually checking me out and everything, but I couldn't approach them. And I wanted them. I was horny, you know. Then it got even worse. The next morning came, so now we were coming down from those bullshit drugs. And I was lying down like with my head on a tire, and then outside the tents, because I didn't even have my own tent, I was like so disorganized. And then I saw all the girls entering my friend's tents. And then one of them, and she was like the most pretty one, she like put her head out of the tent and looked at me and just smiled like, bye, like your friend's about to like nail me and you lying on the tire coming down off E like some baby boy or something like that. And that was so painful. So after that, I was like, bro, I will fix this. I was like, I'll have to. I flew back to South Africa the same day. I left that place. I went straight to the airport. I didn't even stay there. I was so pissed off. Then I read the book, The Game by Neil Strauss. And I started practicing pickup. And it was very uncomfortable in the beginning. And I'll show you how crazy destiny works when you actually commit to your goals, right? So I was going out every weekend to a mall called Santon City to approach these girls, bro. And I remember I was terrified, boy. But I was trying. And God or the universe could see that. And I was failing so much. And then one day, I went in the mall, I was approaching, and this was already a few years after school now. And I started getting some results with girls and everything, but I still was getting shit results. Maybe like 3 years into doing game or whatever. And then I went and I was going down the escalator, and some of you that watch my content, especially from the pickup days, because lots of you guys know me from the pickup because I was a pickup coach, right? So one day, bro, and you might even know this guy, I was going down an escalator, and I saw a guy that I was at school with. His name's Gabriel Gray. And he was like a really big nerd at school, but I just said to him, I don't know why, I was like, hey, brother, want to pick up some girls with me? And he was like, say no more, fam. And I was okay, let's go. And then we went down, and then I was like, okay, those chicks. This guy didn't even approach or anything, and he was getting their numbers. He was doing really well. Like I was approaching and just getting rejected the whole time, and he was doing well. And I was thinking, how the fuck is this possible? This guy was at school with him. He was a nerd, and I was like this jack guy, and he's doing better than me. My ego got hurt. And eventually I was like, bro, what's going on here? How do you know there's so much about this? And he said, nah, bro, because I'm a pickup coach. I'm a coach. I have my own community. And we talking about like 10 years ago already, right? And then I was like, fuck, bro, please teach me, you know? And then he started to teach me. And as soon as he started to teach me, my results like 10x immediately, because there's a science to this kind of thing, like pickup and all that. There's science, there's methods. And Gabriel is an extremely intelligent person, extremely, one of the most clever people that I know. And the reason that I'm actually here in this place right now and my life is like this is also because of him. And like he's still my very good friend. He's one of my best friends still. And he's a successful entrepreneur too. And he's been a massive influence on my success, like massive, like bigger than anyone, like pretty much. Anyway, we were doing this thing, friends and all this shit. And then I started getting into hard drugs at this point. But not with him. He doesn't even use drugs. He's sober. He was sober already. But I started getting into hard drugs with some bad friends. And it was a drug called CAT. It's called methamphetamine. It's like speed. And I started doing it. And because I was depressed because I was smoking weed all the time. So when I took this shit, I was like, bro, this is the answer, bro. This is what I've been looking for the whole time. It made me so energized. I was like, I actually thought that I had found the limitless pill. I thought I'm going to be a billionaire because of this shit. After about 6 weeks of doing it a lot, I had an overdose. No, I didn't overdose on that. I overdosed later on coke. I'll tell you about that. I overdosed a few times. But then, after 6 weeks of doing this fucking bullshit, I weighed like 63 kilograms. And the morning came where I was like going out of my room because you can't sleep on that shit. And I went out of my room and I was like a ghost. I was like pale, skinny, like fuck, bro. My neck was like a pencil. And my mom saw me and she just looked at me and like, she wasn't even angry. She was scared. And I remember her face. She was like, "You're going to die." And then I just broke down. I was like, "Okay, like, can you take me to rehab?" I asked. She said, "Yes." I went to the rehab. It was a horrible experience. They were punishing me the whole time. I had to do these dumb duties. They banned me from exercise because I was exercising too much. They fucking made me cook, clean all the pots and pans and all this crazy shit. But I was naughty and I was challenging them a lot at the rehab. But I mean, it was wrong of them to do that. Like, you don't ban someone from exercise. And by the way, on a side note, I'm actually opening a rehab soon. I'm opening a rehab in Thailand. If any of you guys struggle with drugs, I'm going to open a lot of rehabs. And they're going to be nice rehabs, not like that one. I mean, it was a nice location and shit, but you had to share a room with other people and they fucking made you do these dumb duties every day. We have to clean the floor and all this shit. And anyway, I went to this rehab and I remember like trying to escape. And I ran out of there like a few times. And like the one time when I escaped, I had no money and everything, and I phoned like a friend of mine, and I was like, "Bro, like I need help to get out of this rehab and all this shit." And this guy thought it was the funniest thing, and he was laughing at me, and I was like really in distress. You know, I was crying. I was like distressed. It was the end of my life, and I remember like hitchhiking, getting to the highway, and like having no way to get home, no food, no money, and it was fucked. It was really fucked. And I had to stay there for 4 months. And they punished me the whole time because I challenged them. You know, like I said to them, because they're all the counselors of the rehab, and they used to sit there like the high council, like they were some big dick people or something. They weren't like kind, you know. So they were a bit kind too, but they did have big egos, and they were like I don't know, horrible to me. So I just sat in the one meeting and I said to them, "Let me ask you a question in front of everybody." This really pissed them off. I know how to piss people off. And I said, "Let me ask you a question. Nicotine kills more people than other drugs. Why do you smoke? It's an addiction." And they couldn't answer that because it's true. Like, there's no excuse for smoking in that. I mean, I've still been vaping, to be honest with you. I'm not proud of that, but I have been. But I'm still not making excuses about it, right? So that's what I said to them. And then they were like, "Oh, but you smoke." I literally quit smoking that day, and I didn't smoke for like 6 months. And then I picked up one fucking cigarette, and I got stuck with it again. But I haven't had a cigarette for like a month now, but I've been having some vape, just to be honest with you guys. But it's a pussy-ass habit, and I need to stop that. But anyway, my habits are good otherwise. I don't do drugs. That's the most important. But anyway, eventually... Oh, I did my life story over there, and there's other things that happened in my life that I'm not telling you here. Like, I worked for Prince of Saudi Arabia, I went to the Seychelles, I had like some businesses and all that, different ones. But in the rehab, I told them my life story, and they were saying, "Oh, and I was also a stripper." I didn't tell you that. I was a stripper when I was like 16, 17. I saw a stripper at a bachelorette party, and then I was like, "I want to do that," and I became one for a while. It was pretty crazy. And girls actually like approach you like how guys approach girls. Girls behave like that when you're a stripper. It's fucking wild. But no, it's not for me anymore. But anyway, I told them some of this shit, right? And they were like, "Yo, you lying, you delusional, blah, blah, blah." And then I said to them at the end of the last show, I was like, "I'm going to leave this rehab. I'm going to make a successful business." And I knew that I would. I was like, "I'm going to make this very successful business," because I was into wood before that. I was selling wood and making vegetable gardens. I had a business making raised bed vegetable gardens. And my other business, it still has a Facebook page, and it's still running, but not at the same premises. The guy that used to work for me, his name's Kolani. I've got his name tattooed here. I'll show you. There's his name. He's still doing it. He's still doing it. And I'm going to buy a farm, and we're going to continue to do it. later next year in a rehab in a dog shelter. But anyway, I told them I'm going to do that, and they all laughed at me. And I remember sitting in the rehab room, looking at all these people judging me and doubting me, and just thinking to myself, like, I was actually laughing at them. I was like, do you know who I am? Like, do you realize that I was born for this? Do you know that? And I remember 100% confidence in myself, 100%. I left that rehab. I had a huge wood business within 2 years, like, not like huge like this fucking building over here, but like big for me. Like, I had 10 workers, a big yard. I had thousands and thousands of pieces of wood, like planks, and what we were doing is salvaging timber. It's a really good business. If you guys want to do it, you can message me. I'll tell you how. And it's an environmentally friendly business. It's called Pro Forest, but the page on Facebook is called Johannesburg Reclaimed Wood and Furniture. Search it, guys. Put a comment on that. It'll be cool. Johannesburg Reclaimed Wood and Furniture. It's got like 5,000 likes or 8,000 likes actually, but we used to strip houses or just buy wood from people that demolished houses, all the old wood, and then sell that wood like to people that make furniture and different people, private people. And then we also used to have carpenters and we used to make stuff. Fuck, I want to do that again. I'm going to do that again, guys. The USOE Pro Forest. And anyway, yeah, I miss that. Yeah, but I used to smoke weed there all the time, and I used to smoke it with my workers, and I was like their friend, and like a lot of bad things happened, but a lot of good things happened, and we gave people jobs. And the nice thing about that job, that work, is that, like, I employed the carpenters, and we employ a carpenter, like a professional guy that has the skills and all that. Then we would get a normal guy, like a 19-year-old guy or something like that, and we'll say, look, you work and you learn from the carpenter, he'll teach you, and use it like his assistant. So what we were doing as well was educating these young people on how to get skills. And a lot of those guys, they're still working. They're working as carpenters now. And they learned that skill on the job with us. So that was lovely business and really helpful to society and to the world, because the other thing is it was salvaged wood. So we would be protecting the landfills and reusing the wood instead of just throwing it away. So it would save space in the landfill, and it would save trees, because furniture would be made out of that old wood anyway. Anyway, I started using that bullshit again, the cat. That's what we called it, cat. Metcathinone, what got me into rehab the first time. And the way I relapsed was I went to a party on New Year's, and I met this fucking girl. And she's like, come to the parking lot. And I went there, and she was using it, and I, like an idiot, used it. And then I stayed off that cycle again of addiction. And I was fucked again, man. And then I went to rehab again. And the worst thing about it, bro, like, one of the worst things about it was just this, like, lifestyle of addiction. It's like this massive up, massive down. It's like, I took that shit and I'd feel like so good. Wasn't even that good in hindsight being clean, but I felt so good. And then I would be so low the next day because I can't sleep. I couldn't sleep on this shit. So I'd be awake the whole night, like wanking and watching porn till my fucking dick bled. And then, yeah, it's not, what's the word? Romantic. You know, they romanticize drugs. Drugs are not romantic things. People sit there and they wank on them. That's what happens, even with cocaine eventually. You guys, don't think drugs are cool, because they're the least cool thing that you can do. What's cool is workouts, doing business, helping society. But anyway, eventually I went back to rehab, and then I just kept struggling with it. It's so hard to, like, say this full story, but fuck, bro, I can't even tell you how many times I woke up and I said, I'm stopping today, I'm stopping, blah, blah, blah. And I'll just do it the next day, the next week. And it was horrible. And shit, I'm getting tired, but I'll persevere. Then I woke up one day and I was like, look, bro, you're not being able to stop, so let's leave the country. I left the country and I started in Vietnam. I met with this chick that I had met in Thailand before, and I stayed with her and all this shit. And I sold the business, right? The wood business. I sold it to someone. And I had money, but I was irresponsible and I was still an addict, living not in recovery. I was just an addict, like without the drug of choice, but I was still smoking weed and drinking. And I finished all that money. And then I was stuck in Vietnam without money, depressed, watching videos all day long. And my family had to like evacuate me. And I have family that live in Israel. So I went to Israel. I became a citizen as well, and I worked as a manual laborer. And then the same friend, Gabriel, I worked as fucking removals company, you know, carrying stuff up and down stairs. It was a hectically hard job. And the same friend, Gabriel, he knew, like, at this point I was really good at game, and he knew that I needed to go to Poland to attend a pickup summit. So he was insistent that I go to Poland, right, to Warsaw for this pickup thing. And he probably knew, his conscience was probably telling him, this fucking guy needs to do this. And he was insistent. And I went there. And I seen these guys, and I was doubting myself a lot because I'd been on a downward spiral. I was like living a life I hated. And I was a manual laborer and shit. And I saw these guys teaching pickup, and I thought, Papi, I'll destroy you in pickup. I was already really good at that. And I was like, fuck these guys, I'm going to do much better than them. So I started my group. I have a group, I still have it on Facebook. It's called Alpha Male Mindset. It's about pickup, but I'm changing it to Upward Spiral of Excellence. I might even sell the group. Not really teaching like pickup, like how these guys teach it. I teach Upward Spiral of Excellence. I teach principles, and I teach how to be a real man. And if you learn how to do that, you learn how to fix your fucking habits, you won't struggle with girls anymore. I guarantee you. There is technical stuff you can learn. And if you need that, hit up my boy, Gabriel Gray. He's got a group called Social Hacker. I highly recommend him. He's a technical game expert. But anyway, I went there and I had that full confidence, the same confidence that I had at the rehab. That before I started the business and I succeeded, and I had that same confidence, and it was like, okay, do this. And then I went back to Israel and I started making content. He taught me what to do. He's a really good friend, Gabriel. He's a really, really solid guy. And he taught me what to do. I started the group. I started going out, making these pickup videos. And I remember I was like staying with my dad, and he stayed in this other city, like far away. And I remember I used to literally go to Tel Aviv, in the other city where the girls are. And I used to go there like on a Friday night or Saturday night. And I used to say, okay, bro, like if you don't pull a chick tonight, like you don't have a place to sleep kind of thing. And I used to push myself really hard and get really good results. And I made videos of this. And eventually I started getting a lot of attention. And then another guy came in my life, Shawn Michaels, Discovery. He's a famous coach too. Very famous coach, and he was in the army for 10 years in the British Army, and a very solid guy. And he contacted me, and I was like, shit, these guys are trying to contact me, like I must be doing something right. And then one guy that was following me from Israel, he said, hey bro, let's go out to see that you're doing this, you're really good at it. I went out with him, I helped him with his game, he had an amazing night with me. And then he's like, okay bro, I want to hire you, let's go to Ukraine. This was like in the beginning of coronavirus, and I heard about Ukraine, I heard about Odessa, and I was like, fuck bro, let's go, because there was a girl that I was seeing at the time. Her name was Anna. She was a super MILF from Ukraine, super, she was very hot. And I was like, this is where this chick comes from, bro. I'll go there and see the other chicks that also come from there. And Ukraine is known for that. They're known to have like some of the most beautiful women in the world, and it's true. So I went to Ukraine with this guy, and then we went full beast mode, bro. We had like these two like teenage girls that were living with us, and then like one of the first, I'll tell you about that, but he had his first threesome when I was doing coaching with him, and he was so happy and shit, and we stayed in this really expensive apartment. He was a wealthy guy, and I thought, wow, my life is like becoming perfect, but I still hadn't gotten customers yet, and I was really worrying. And I remember phoning Gabriel. I was like, bro, I'm running out of money. Like I have a few hundred left, like $300 left. And he was like telling me, like different tactics. He was taking time. He was taking his time to help me. He's a real friend. He wanted to see me win. He actually wanted to see me win. And I always will owe you for that, Gubby, if you're watching this, brother. But then, like, I was getting to the last of my money. It was like a movie. I was getting to the last of my money. And then he was telling me, look, do this. He had long calls with me, and I was drinking and stuff. But I was still, like, working somehow. And then eventually I had, like, 6 sales calls booked. And then just before I ran out of money, bro, I'm not even shitting you. In one day, I did all these 6 calls, and I closed every single person. It was $3,000 a person. So I made like $18,000 in one day. And I thought, oh my God. And I remember listening to the song called Experience by Ludovici Einaudi and walking around in Odessa. And there's like these statues of lions and stuff there. And it's just, I was like, man, my life, bro. I did it, bro. Like, I succeeded. And then I went out that night that I did that. And I was on such a high vibrational frequency. We went to this BDSM club, and when we walked in, we saw these like MILFs. There was like a table. There was like 2 of them and some guys. And when I walked in, when I walked in, they check this thing. They saw me, and I saw them checking me out. And I said to my customer, I was like, for my customer / friend, whatever, you know, when you do this kind of work, those people are like your friends too. But I was like, bro, we're going to approach them. And he was scared. So I went by myself and I approached them. I was like, hey, charismatic, confident, like I'm a professional pickup coach. I know exactly what I'm doing. And approached them, and they were receptive. And then I started hooking up with one of them. I started hooking up with another one. One of their friends came. I started hooking up with her as well, like kissing them all at the same time. And then I brought them all with me to the dance floor, and I was walking around this BDSM club with like 3 different girls, and like even more girls were coming, and like, I don't know if I took my shirt off or what, but it was crazy. There was a few details I actually forgot to mention when I was growing up that were very important. So one of them was that when I was a kid, when I was like 12, I had an armed robbery at my house, and people came in my home and they stabbed my dad in his heart with a screwdriver, and I was standing next to him, and that happened. And also they came another time and they put like guns to my family's heads, and that was fucking terrible. And I remember having nightmares about that for a long time. There was another thing I wanted to say, but anyway, let's go back to Ukraine, a more happier memory. But I'm trying to show you guys now that life is a contrasting series of events. And if you're going through shit and bad things happen, like really bad things happen to me, bro. My dad got stabbed right in front of me. I remember like sitting with him in the kitchen. Suddenly like 4 guys walk in our house with guns. I was a kid when that happened. Imagine that. But then, on the other hand, I'm walking around with 3 girls in Ukraine, you know, hot chicks. And my dad survived that. He's a man, bro. The reason they stabbed him. And also, I'll tell you about my dad. He was a special forces soldier. He came from Tunisia, and he was a self-made man, and he was an amazing guy, and he died this year. And I miss him every day. Rest in peace, Abba. I hope you don't mind me saying all these stories. But these stories are true, and I want to inspire you guys, so it must be in the right path. You know, it's trying to be helpful against drugs and for sobriety. Anyway, pick up these chicks. And yeah, now I want to marry a girl. You know, this stuff I'm also talking about from the pickup days. This is before, when I was more like immature and stuff like that. But it was part of my journey, you know, and it's probably what God wanted at that time for me. But anyway, yeah, then they didn't come home with me, and I was upset. But then a few days later they came, and then the 2 of them came, and we had other girls living with us. Like I had one, and my other friend, the client, had one as well. And then like these girls, they knew like we were pickup artists and shit, and they like helped us clean the house. And the 2 girls went out of the home, and the client went out of the home with them. The 2 MILFs came, we had our fun and all that shit. And then it was like 4 a.m, and then my client comes back with the 2 girls. Now I'm sitting there with 2 teenage girls, 2 super MILFs. And I'm sitting there and I'm like thinking, bro, I made it. and we were drinking alcohol. And this was the deceptive part, because things were going well for me. So I didn't realize that the drugs and the sleeping with girls and the alcohol, because alcohol itself is a drug too, I didn't realize it was bad for me and what it was leading me up to. And then anyway, that was nice, the experience. Then I went from there, I went to Colombia, and I relapsed there again on coke. And because at this time, until Ukraine, I didn't relapse on coke. Then I went to Colombia, relapsed on coke, and then I entered a massive depression. And I want to say that to you guys, like these things like coke, weed, alcohol even, they cause depression in human beings. Do you realize that? Especially coke. So if you struggle with substances, or if you're thinking of using substances, understand that it causes massive depression, massive. Because what it does, it's a neurochemical thing. Like you have a limited amount of dopamine, serotonin, all these chemicals. And when you take something like coke, you fucking blast that dopamine to the moon. And then afterwards, for the next week or two, it's very low. And then your habits take a knock. You can't be on the upward spiral of excellence if you use drugs. I guarantee you that. Go look at the habit tracker. You'll think it's impossible to do. You won't even feel like doing it. You won't want it. But anyway, then I went to Colombia. Then I used the coke there. Obviously, it was Colombia. And then I entered the depression. And then I went back to like South Africa. And there's so many stories from these times of like traveling the world. This is like the traveling the world section. So I think I'm going to make another video. If you guys like this video 100 times, 100 likes, I'll make a video about my adventures traveling the world as a pickup artist. But this video is now getting too long. It's almost an hour long, and my brain is getting tired. I've been awake since 2 a.m. But I'll tell you, I'll tell you a few more things. Then I relapsed again, and then I had a seizure at a club. I was like standing in the club, and I used coke. And then I walked to the dance floor, and the next thing I woke up, and I was like full of blood on my face and pouring water on my face. They were pouring water on my face, and this guy was like pushing the bouncers away from me and shit. It was fucked. And then I was like, I'm definitely quitting now. And then I relapsed again, and I had another seizure at home while I was on the phone to a friend, and I almost died there because I had no one to pull the, is there a difference? Yeah, there's a difference. I had no one to pull my tongue out of my throat, but luckily I didn't die, but I could have, because that's how people die from like coke and stuff like that. They have a seizure, okay? They swallow their tongue and then they choke to death. That's happens. It's a very common thing, actually, more common than you would think. But anyway, then I went to rehab again, and I went again, and eventually I got clean. And then I discovered the upward spiral of excellence theory 5 years ago. You know, the principles, ambition, discipline, consistency. I've been working on that theory for the last 5 years. Now I live with that theory. I live in sobriety. I became rich. I become richer every day. I have more money than I can spend. I'm going to buy a white Ferrari next year. And my main thing that makes me happy is inspiring people and coaching them. I provide free self-development tools that will help you if you're an addict. They'll help you if you're out of shape. They'll help you if you lack confidence. They'll help you with anything. They'll help you get rich, because it's about your habits and your actions. And we track our habits on this. And if you can do it by yourself, great, go for it. I give you all the tools and everything that we use, except some of them. There is elite program tools that are specifically for the elite program, but you get the base tools for free, like the whole exercise book you get for free. You get the journal for free. You get the priority mental pyramid for free, the activity pyramid, the mental priority pyramid. You get a whole lot of shit for free. Like these new tools that I'm making, they're not even released yet. The people on the program are not even using them. They're using the tools that you will have. And this is the most powerful self-development theory in the whole world. And I commit my life to that. I've been working on this for like 5 years, the upward spiral of excellence, and I made many mistakes, and I've had a crazy life. And I'll just share with you a few places that I've traveled in the last 7 or 8 years. I've been to Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Israel, Ukraine, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil. I went to Brazil 3 times. Where else did I go? I went to Latvia, Lithuania, Ukraine. And Latvia, Lithuania, Poland. I've been to Poland like 4 times. Been to Latvia like 3 times or 2 times. I went to Lithuania once.
I've been many places. I've been to Turkey. I've been all over the world. So if you guys want to hear the stories of the adventures of traveling the world, that'll be a good one. If you get 100 likes on this video, if you comment down below, please tell us that story. I'll tell you guys some fucking crazy shit. And yeah, you know, this life, it comes from taking one step, Papa. One step. The step that I took to start approaching and sort that out in my life, that led me right here where I am. That step that I took to wake up in the morning and make this video, who knows where it's going to lead. So don't underestimate the power of your actions, and don't underestimate the power of consistency, and don't underestimate the power of the upward spiral of excellence, because this is like a strategic, calculated way to be an absolute dominator. You live like that, bro. You living in the top 0.00000000001% of the population, because it's a combination of habits. It's exercise, journaling, and the journal, you also get that for free, and it's custom. It's awesome. Journal, actually, I can show it to you. Let me walk back to my apartment. I'll show you the journal now. I've been working on it this morning. You get the journal as well for free. And yeah, you get a lot of things for free, but if you want extra help and you want to join my private, the elite coaching, group coaching program, you're welcome to do that on the landing page. You can apply for it, but go to the landing page, usoe.club/join, and you will see, you can put your email there. You'll get an email with a link to a Google Drive file with all those tools that I told you about. Go out and print them. Put the habit tracker on your wall. I'll show you. I've got the habit tracker on my wall. And the journal, I've done my morning journal already. I'll show that to you as well. But I'll just see if there's anything there that I don't want you to see, because it is a private thing too, but I probably don't mind to show you. And bro, this is the most powerful self-development program in the whole world, bro. Do you realize that? That's the only thing that I think about, really. Look at this thing. It takes like a picture of you. It's pretty crazy. Come on. You see that? It takes a picture. Fucking fancy ass place. This thing. It's so weird. And you don't even have keys in this building, you know that? You just use codes and shit. It uses your face and it uses codes. But anyway, bro, this powerful theory, bro. And when you use it, and it explains the theory in depth as well in the training. And I'm always improving it. I improve it every single day. Like when I wake up at 3 or 2 in the morning, sometimes even at 1, I start working on it. When I'm my most clear-headed and my most fresh, and I always have an ice shower before I even work on it, so I'm even more sharp. See, look. Let me show you guys. So look, we got that there protein, you know what I'm saying? So look, this is my habit tracker over there. Upward Spiral of Excellence 21-day challenge. And you stack the W's. You put the time that you wake up there. You don't need to wake up at these times, but you put a W for the habits you do, an L for the habits you don't do. So I got a few L's, but mostly I get W's. Here's another one that I did before, and another one. I have many of them. And that's the thing. This is the book that you'll get, but there's an updated version already. But it's got all these exercises and things like that, and priority pyramids, mental priority, and all that. And I explain that in the training. This is the journal. I'll show you the blank page. I don't want to show you my own journal. Fuck that. Look, this is it. But the journal's also updated. I've been updating it this morning. I'll show you the updated version. Let me open this laptop. Yeah, so check this out. My room's a mess. Excuse me, because I'm traveling, so... But this is the updated one, and this is advanced, bro. This is advanced stuff, and I give it to you guys for free because I want you to have a great life, better than mine. And let me just tell you, bro, in this world, a person that lives like this, that puts the effort, that's diligent, consistent, those are the ones. Those are the ones that live remarkable lives. And the ones that don't have a system to track their habits, the ones that go with the crowd, stay back, play it small out of fear of being hated, they live lives of quiet desperation. Join the USOE today. You can join for free with those tools. And if you're a teenager, you can join paid program for free with accountability groups and a coaching call with me every week. And if you have children, we have a children's program, as well, because children should be tracking their habits. I'll show you the children's habit trackers. Yeah, let me find that. Yeah. Children should be tracking their habits. This is the children's program. See? And then on the 8th day of tracking their habits, you give them a prize. On the 16th day, you give them a prize. And you make it into a game. And then every night, like even when I do it and I fill it out, I feel a sense of accomplishment. And that's what humans thrive on. It's not just the progress that you're getting. It's that accomplishment that you want. For me, I got lots of money. I got lots of everything. But I choose to sit and work. I choose to wake up at 2 a.m. because that makes me feel accomplished. That makes me realize that I'm helping children. I'm helping adults. When I help you with your self-development, I help your child, innocent child. And in this world, like 1 in 6 children are living in extreme poverty. And children are innocent. Children never hurt no one. And I'll fight to the death for those kids. You better believe me. I get so upset about that, guys. And you guys should get upset too. Because no matter where a kid comes from, no matter what color he is or she is, they all wear those small shoes. Those small little cute shoes that children wear. They all wear them. And they fucking suffering, man. One time I went to an orphanage in South Africa when I was on drugs still, and I saw a child being abused. And that'll always be in my heart. The little child, they were like squeezing his balls, and I didn't even do anything to help him because I was scared. But now I'm not scared. I would die for one little child. And the fact that they hurt, that breaks my heart. And all I can do as a man is just commit to my purpose and try. And you better believe I won't give up. I'm a man like my dad. I don't give up for nothing. Even my dad, he was a pediatrician. And he did that because he loved children too. My dad was a good man. And I'll make you proud. And I hope you make your dad proud, and I hope that you make your son proud, your daughter proud, that you protect them, that you're some man that's like, yeah, that's my daddy, like how I feel about my dad. I'm gonna cry to you guys, fuck. But I really love my dad too, man. And yeah, cry, bro. It's fine. I'm a human. I don't normally cry. When I used to cry to my dad, he used to be like, don't cry. I just couldn't help it there, guys. As children, they suffer, and then all the people say, oh, it's the governments, it's these fucking people, it's those fucking people. It's not. It's all of us at the same time. We all need to rise up. We all need to follow our conscience, and I promise you there won't even be one child without food. There won't even be one fucking child without a house. There won't be no children that are suffering like this. Realize what it's like for a child to go without food. Do you realize what it's like a child to be in slavery? That's happening all over the world. Little children in Congo, they use them to mine the lithium. They use them to mine coltan. They take them and because they're very small, so they can go in these small holes. That what kind of punishment mankind will have people that are involved with this shit. And all of us are actually involved because these minerals, these rare earth minerals that these children are mining, they're in your cell phone. You have them. You have child labor on your hands. Me too. And I can't help it because I need to use the phone. But the point is that we need to do something about this. And maybe you, like the rest of these fucking baby boys that blame everybody else. But the real solution is if we have like 1 million people, or probably 1 million would do it. 1 million people really on the upward spiral, really pushing themselves, really focused, really dialed into their conscience. It'll disappear. And if you get 1 billion people, we'll probably be colonizing other planets and shit soon. You know, people that are really high level, they're like Elon Musk. These guys, they change the world. And these people, it's this particular principles that they're following, which you can follow too. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's fight for the kids. Let's fight for our kids. Let's fight for each other kids. Let's fight for a better world. Let's fight to the death.